Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Welcome, friends and neighbors. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you so much for joining us today on this beautiful Thursday in Greater West Bloomfield, our final live show for the week as we get ready for an exciting weekend ahead. It all begins in just 24 hours, and just a little bit over that, when West Bloomfield and Birmingham converge at the Swamp for a battle between the Birmingham Groves Falcons and your West Bloomfield Lakers. It was a tough road loss for WB last season in week number 2. Losing 28-13 on the road against the Falcons. I spoke to Lakers head coach Zach Hilbers about how the sting of last season's matchup is motivating his team as they face Birmingham Groves at home in 2025, as well as how the emotions of Groves being back on this field after a dramatic D2 semifinals loss last season may impact their visiting opponents.
Yeah, and it's always an emotional game with them. It's easy to compare year to year, but they're a little bit different team. But when you play Groves, it's always physical football, smash mouth. They're going to make everything difficult. I've never had an easy game against them, regardless of what either roster look like. So we know it's going to be a battle, and they're still pretty tough up front on both lines.
And Coach Flaherty always has his teams prepared, and it helps too when, much like your defense returning 7 starters this year, he's returning 5 in each of the 2 main phases, offense and defense. How does that also factor in? Your defense being familiar, particularly with those offensive players, but also that experience gap between their defense and your offense.
Well, they also had a lot of guys that were on a semifinal team last year, and they got used to the process of winning and saw a lot of success. So they know what it takes, and they know what it takes to beat us. They did it last year, and I think our kids are kind of locked in for that reason.
A record comes into play at this time of the year. You start to look at these matchups and think, okay, undefeated Lakers, 500 team in Birmingham Groves, but the level of competition that high school teams are scheduling, especially in the OAA in 2025, that also has to be a factor in this, because they may be a 2-2 team, but they're a couple plays away in that Oxford game from being 3-1, and they've shown a lot of promise coming into this game in week 5.
Oh yeah, they're always going to fight. They're going to battle, and we expect it to be like a knock him down, knock it out, slugfest, because that's just what it always is. So yeah, they're just like Orion. They're a proud team, proud program, and they have an identity, and they really believe in it.
And that being a smash mouth sort of team that Coach Flaherty always prepares each and every year, does that change your approach practice-wise, getting ready for that physicality as you come into this week that may be a little bit different than what we've seen in the past 4?
I don't know. It's a good question, but for all the bells and whistles and stuff that you can do in football, it usually comes down to blocking and tackling at the end of the day. So that's been our message all year, is to try to be the more physical team. I thought last year when we played them, they were more physical and they won. So we kind of challenge the guys every week to be the more physical team, up front, back half, special teams, wherever it's needed. And I know that's their mentality as well. So for that reason, it should be a pretty good matchup.
Last season, that matchup in week 2 definitely seemed very lopsided, especially in favor of Groves. They won by 15, but throughout that game, it seemed like they really had their handle on the driver's seat. This season, it's a completely different team that you have out there. The mindset is clearly different. The leadership has firm control of this locker room. How does that make a difference, do you think, coming into this particular game versus what happened on the field in Birmingham a year ago?
Well, they definitely believe right now, and if you believe and you got a little bit of confidence, that goes a long way, especially when you're talking about 15, 16, or 17-year-old kids, that the coaching comes a little bit easier when they've seen the rewards, I guess, and they've seen what happens if they buy in. So I guess the important thing is to not be overconfident, but still confident in what you can do.
Does it help to have a coach like Cornell Wheeler on now as an assistant coach, who, despite him being an assistant coach on your team now, he's still only just a few years removed from being on this team. So he's familiar with the territory. He's familiar with high school football in the modern age. How does that help communication-wise to put that context in place for a now 4-0 team as you get into the thick of your schedule?
It's been invaluable. Like, he's got a great relationship with the kids. I think it's just easier with his age. He's not too far removed from them, like you said. But he also knows his stuff. He knew his stuff when he was a high school player, and obviously after 5 years of playing big-time college football, he's really, really knowledgeable. So the ability to communicate stuff well with kids and then also know what you're talking about, and we never have to question his motives because, he came from here, grew up here, and, we're really glad he's still here.
And you're able to see that level of football come into play in his record at West Bloomfield High School, being on some of the most successful teams in this Laker program's history, and being there, witnessing in the years leading up to it some of the most successful teams. I noted it earlier on in the show. The Lakers are 4-0 after the first 4 weeks of the season. That has only happened twice since 2015. 2015, 2022. Neither of those seasons ended up being championship years, but those were big years in setting up some of the most successful seasons in Laker football history. What about this team, do you think, differs from those that makes possibly this team in 2025 be really scary come the last weeks of the season and especially in the playoff time?
Well, I think, our resiliency right now is what you need for a successful football team. That's what you need to be at. And we've really shown that, I think. It's funny, if you ask to compare it to 10 years ago, that was when we were first kind of turning the corner as a program, where we had good players and we had won some big games, but we hadn't done it time and time again. And that was the first time we really, I guess, took that next leap. And then it was about, growing from that point, not just making the playoffs, but trying to win games in the playoffs and learning how that has to get done, because it's a different game. So I don't know, if you kind of combine all the experience that some of the coaches that have been around that long have with the kids' mentality, we hope it's the right recipe to make a run.
Lakers coming into this week 4-0, Groves coming in 2-2. They've had a couple of close matchups that have in some ways gone their way and others not. Oxford was a 21-24 loss last week. They were able to break out against a very good team in 2025 in Rochester that's shown some promise in a 35-7 matchup. So as we're just a few days removed from that game, what's the message in the locker room with Groves coming in, wanting to turn 4-0 into 5-0, especially when you've got Oxford and Clarkston coming up, two games that always require teams to be at 100%?
Yeah, I think this one does too, to be honest. We got to be at our best to win on Friday, but the kids know that. They know what happened last year, and they're really eager just to play and prove that we're a different team and we're in a different place.
Had a great conversation last night with Birmingham Groves head coach Brendan Flaherty, a lifer at Groves, 25 seasons this year in Birmingham. He's coached so long that actually Coach Hilbers was the quarterback at West Bloomfield just in Brendan Flaherty's third season. I'll have more details on that as we get into the broadcast on Friday. You can follow along with the team all season long. Watch all of This Week in Laker Football from this week's episode, previewing Friday night's game. And, of course, join us for our live coverage of Friday's ball game between the West Bloomfield Lakers and the Birmingham Groves Falcons right here on CivicCenterTV.com/Laker Sports. One of our top stories this week is the continued emphasis on emergency preparedness and communications as we recognize National Preparedness Month and get ready for October, which of course is Fire Prevention Month. One of the many ongoing projects aimed at improving our community's readiness for local emergencies is the modernization project at Fire Station Number 1 on Orchard Lake Road. Civic Center TV's Dave Scott spoke to West Bloomfield Fire Chief Greg Flynn about the major renovations on their way at Fire Station Number 1 at the recent Fire Department open house.
Joining us now, he is the chief of the West Bloomfield Fire Department. Get to look at your shirt to make sure that was you, Greg Flynn.
It's such a treat to be the fire chief here, Dave.
So tell us what's going on here and why we do this every year.
Well, I think the overarching theme is that fire is everyone's fight. And this is an opportunity to bring the community together and see just not the resources, the fire trucks and the fire gear and our friends in law enforcement and some of the things they use, but fire prevention. Fire is an important part of our lives. It warms our homes, it cooks our food, but left unchecked, it can be devastating and immediately change lives and have an impact on lives for the years to come.
Well, I was just saying a minute ago that grease is okay and a fire is okay, but a grease fire is definitely not.
Well, you know, and Lieutenant Inspector Donovan's going to do that demo, and people are always amazed when that water hits that grease that the fire, is 10 times bigger than what it was had you done nothing or simply done the right thing by simply covering the fire with a lid.
All right, so in our homes, we definitely want to have a fire extinguisher. We want to know where it is, right, and have it available, correct?
For sure.
But there are other things that we need. I mean, our fire extinguisher, would that put out a grease fire?
So remember, we have the fire triangle. So we have heat, we have the fuel, and we're going to have oxygen. And so anything we can do to break that triangle somewhere along the way is what's going to do that. So the fire extinguisher is actually taking away the oxygen. It puts a blanket over that and smothers the fire out. So I think we're going to be competing with this as he goes through.
Okay.
So
our mics are real close. So
all right, very good.
You can't hear, but they can hear us. Don't worry, it's okay.
Very good. So I think having a fire extinguisher is important. I think that having a working smoke alarms that we check, and so many of them now, Dave, are connected. So in my home, there's I think they call it a Bluetooth web or network that all of those smoke alarms are programmed. So the one near my kitchen, I program it as kitchen, and when any of my smoke go off, it tells me basement, kitchen,
nice.
Bedroom. So now we know where the fire is, and then we would execute the escape plan. And I think we think of escape plans only for kids. And I'm going to tell you, my youngest is going to be 19 this year. When I moved him into his dorm at East Lansing, go Spartans, I went over the escape plan with him. This is where you're going to get out. If this is blocked, this is your secondary egress. You're never too old to have an escape plan. And I think that's, again, a message that we bring out here in Fire Safety Month, week. Every day is Fire Safety Day, is that we all have a responsibility.
It is exceptionally loud in here. I will give you that. Maybe we can work on that before the day is over. But so how do you make that decision? Is there and maybe it's different in every case. But how do you make that decision? Fight the fire or escape?
We strongly encourage people just to get out of the house and let us come in and put the fire out. But I think the practical side of us comes in, and when I'm sitting there looking at a small fire on my stove, and I have a lid right there, and I can just simply slide the lid over, I'm going to do that. And we want our citizens to think critically.
Sure.
We don't want an excited response or grab this fiery liquid fuel and try to move with it, and as you spill that, if you were to spill it, it'll spread the fire. So it's making good decisions. An item that comes up often in discussions are these fire blankets that you see advertised.
That's what I was thinking about, yeah.
And if we use the fire triangle, again, it makes sense. The challenge with a fire blanket, with the lids, once we cover it, we just don't peek. Don't look at it, because as soon as you lift that blanket, you add the oxygen, and the triangle comes back together, and the heat and fuel are still there, and it reignites, and it can be even more dangerous.
Well, I don't know if we saw that over the corner of Greg Flynn there or not, but they just put the fire out, the grease fire out outside, and great team. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they were able to do that and show people. I've had that happen on a barbecue. Of all the places, you're outside, you're a little less worried outside of your home, but you get a serious grease fire in a barbecue on your back deck, that can turn into a problem real quick.
And I would encourage, if that was them, they just put the lid on it. Yeah, I would put the camera on that, because what they're going to show is when somebody puts water on that and what happens to the fire when you do that, and how the water, if you were to pour water onto grease, you immediately see it separate and disperse. It's not going to put that fire out. What it's going to do is spread it, and some of that water vapor is going to go up, and it's going to take oil with it, and that oil is going to ignite, and you're going to have fire everywhere. So we try to demo these types of things at the fire open house, so people realize, like, hey, I won't do that. They showed me what not to do, and they showed me that if I was to throw that water on it, and my cabinets, my wood cabinets, my veneer cabinets, all combustibles, my curtains, all those things nearby, all of those then spontaneously ignite and now we have a full-blown kitchen fire. All of it from a small fire contained within what we would say contained within a cooking vessel. That's how we code those fires, when we keep it inside the cooking vessel.
It's so good to talk to you, because I was just thinking on the way over here today of all the video packages we put together over the years I've been at Civic Center TV, covering heroic events by the fire department, things that would have been so much worse had you not responded. What is it like to be on the front line for your crew and yourself in fighting these fires? When you get to a home, it's deeply engulfed, there are people there, and moments really count.
Well, I think it's something that maybe our residents, it's good. I don't think that they are expected to completely and fully understand our emergency operations, but the team that is on duty, our operations team, and the way that we deploy services inside of the 4 communities served by the WBFD, Dave, it is really remarkable that you don't see more headlines, and it's because of the quick and rapid intervention, and the pre-planning, and the training, and the courageous professionals that, and here they go. They're leaving the station right now, going on a call. So
there's a call coming out of this station right now.
Well, there's probably multiple calls, and now they're pulling out of this station because we bring a lot of resources because we want the residents to see it. But even if you were walking the grounds here, things are set up to deploy if needs in the community start to come up. So you'll even see the tower truck come down and go fully into response mode.
Okay.
If we go 2 or 3 more calls deep, they'll be putting that truck into service. It's what we do, and you don't have to think about it when you're at home, because we're thinking about those types of things for you, and that's our job, and we're very honored to do that here in West Bloomfield.
Well, you do it with great distinction and service to the community, and we appreciate it. I'll let you go. I know you got other people to talk to. Before we go, I think this is going to be the last time in this environment that we're together for an open house at Fire Station number 1. You got a major project coming up here. Tell people briefly about it.
Well, we plan to, and we've been working through the Capital Improvement Committee on a multi-year presentation here, build-up for the meeting on October 20th, where we'll go before the board with the entire plan and recommended budget for renovation here at Fire Station number 1. Dave, the station's been here since the early 70s when it went in service, designed for the volunteer firefighters at the time, and we've grown a lot since the 1970s. And
were there any women in that volunteer fire crew back in the 70s? Probably not, or very few.
Not to my recollection or hearing any of the history. I don't see any of that reflected, but we do today, very much so. The fire department today looks very different, but performs with the same commitment, dedication, and professionalism.
Of course. But I mean, that's just a glaring example that they didn't put women's restrooms in fire stations back then, and then there's a million other things and technical reasons why, and facilities reasons why it's time for an upgrade.
Well, even the size of fire apparatus, Dave, like the height of these doors, fire trucks have to be custom designed and shortened the height, bring down, so it can go in and out of this station. So we'll be future proofing in the design, so we don't have those issues. The doors will be wide enough, the roof will be tall enough, and I really am excited for the community to get excited about what the Fire Station 1 here in front of the high school is going to look like.
So I'll let you go. Just one final comment. I traveled around the state and at a lot of events and see a lot of people, and every time I see somebody wearing a jacket and I see that badge on it, I ask them, do you know Greg Flynn in West Bloomfield? And they all start to smile, and I mean, you've been doing this for a while. You've had a big impact. You and your department had a big positive impact, not only in our community, but statewide and likely beyond.
Well, we're grateful to a community that supports the mission. And there's one thing that this community has always said to their public safety, specifically to the fire, rescue, EMS, and they've said yes. And that's what the men and women of the WBFD step into when that bell goes off and the lights come on. They're ready to respond, and we take a great deal of pride and honor and have the privilege of serving West Bloomfield, Kego, Sylvan, and Orchard.
You can see the full open house on demand on civiccentertv.com. And for more updates from the West Bloomfield Fire Department, visit their Facebook page at WB Fire Department. For nearly 60 years, those who some may call the first family of Kego Harbor have been serving their community as volunteers and their customers at their iconic restaurant on Cass Lake Road. Now Gina and Irene Santia are set to be honored by the state of Michigan in recognition of Italian American Heritage Month in October. Joining us now is the man and the woman of the month, Gino and Irene Santia. Thank you both for joining us, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler.
Glad to have you both on as we get ready to recognize you in the month of October. The state of Michigan will be formally recognizing the both of you during some of their Italian American Heritage Month recognitions. Gino, how does it feel to be recognized by the state of Michigan for yours and your family's continued service over the decades to Kego Harbor and the state of Michigan?
I feel very honored. We both feel very honored about the award. It's very heartfelt, very, very nice of them to do that for us.
And Irene, to you, I mean, it doesn't take a yeoman's effort to get involved in your community. It's about having that initial love for your hometown or a place that you call home, and then getting involved. But what do you think has been the secret for you, for Gino, for your family, in not only getting involved in the community, but having the community then share that love back with your family over these past 56 years and counting?
Well, we brought our heritage, what we grew up in into the community, into our restaurant, and tried to share it with the people that we deal with in the city and around us. And we've kind of stuck to that, and people come to appreciate it. And we managed to stay here for 56 years with that mantra.
Yeah, may I add that people that come in here, our customers, we make them feel like family. We, especially if they become regulars, they are our work family. So I think they feel that they're part of our family as well.
We're considered a family Cheers. Everybody comes in here and they feel like they're at Cheers in Boston. So.
It's kind of that secondary home for people in Kego Harbor, for those that live just outside of the city in West Bloomfield and Waterford and Sylvan Lake and Pontiac. They come into Kego, they go to Gino's, they feel part of the Kego Harbor community. Now, this honor is for Italian American Heritage Month. You will be honored at the Michigan Capitol in October. There's going to be a ceremony there. I was told the celebration will be held on October 8th. for this particular honor. Irene, for you, not only this is an honor for your heritage in the city of Keego Harbor, but your Italian-American heritage too, so both professionally and personally. What does this honor for this particular month from your state mean to you?
I'm so proud. I'm so proud to be Italian. We are first-generation Italians. Our parents came from the same hometown and married here. My father has served in World War II in the service, and proud to be Italian and happy to be American. And happy my parents immigrated here. Our life would have been entirely different had we grown up in Italy. We've embraced Keego Harbor as our hometown, and we both love to visit our hometown in Italy as well. So, we have that connection. Being a first generation, we have the connection to Italy and the United States as well. They're both our homes.
And Gino, not only through your cuisine are you honoring your Italian heritage at your restaurant in Keego Harbor, but in what other ways do you believe that what it means to be an Italian and an Italian American is reflected in both your restaurant and yours and your family's involvement in the Heart of the Lakes?
Well, the heritage that we grew up in, my mother and father just taught us such great values and morals, and we've continued that through our business and with our friends and our acquaintances, and that's the way we live, and I think people have embraced it around us, and I've gotten involved with a lot of the people as well as with the city and other ventures, and we support groups that come to us for help and charities and stuff, and so it's the giving way the Italians do. We're just embrace people, and we're very, very generous in that way.
Gino and Irene Santia are joining us on the Splash Live today. They are set to be honored in mid-October by the state of Michigan. They will be receiving a proclamation recognizing them as exceptional Italian Americans in their business and their service to the community. A direct quote from a press release from Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant and Pamela White, the publisher at the Italian Tribune, earlier this month. It's going to be a big celebration both at the Capitol in Lansing, but also in Keego Harbor, as this was announced just in about 1 month ago. Gino, what's the response been like from the community for you and Irene since this has been announced?
Well, we've had a lot of congratulatories, a lot of comments on Facebook. We happen to post it on Facebook, and we've had a lot of great support, people coming up to us, shaking our hands, and appreciate what we've done, and it's very rewarding, very nice. It's nice to know that people recognize us.
Yeah, always nice to be recognized, especially when you have had the impact that the Santia family has had on the city of Keego Harbor over the years. Irene, you and Gino have worked very hard to create a family-like atmosphere at Gino's and to contribute to that in the city of Keego Harbor. For those that have either just moved into the city or maybe they've been there for a number of years but have struggled to find a way to get involved, what do you believe is the biggest asset that someone can bring to enhancing a family-like environment across the entire community in Keego Harbor?
Let's see. I think they should get out there and meet people. The people here are very welcoming and love new residents in the community. Even if you just come here to Gino's, you'll meet a lot of the community people that live in the community, and they'll welcome you to whatever you are interested, whatever your interests are, to get involved or to volunteer.
I think a big part of it is, Tyler, that we've been here so long, and people look at it as a staple of the community, and they know that we're going to be here, and we're not going anywhere. We become part of the involved volunteering and stuff, and so they know that we're here, and they embrace us, and we're just here. We're just here for them. We're not going anywhere.
And you're going to be going to Lansing in October. October 8th at 11 a.m. is when the state capitol is set to hold this recognition for Italian American Heritage Month. The event hosted by State Representative Joe Aragona from the 60th District, and certainly many people from the Heart of the Lakes and Greater West Bloomfield will be there to help celebrate our dignitaries and many representatives from our community as well. Gino, Irene, before we let you go, I want to end with this. As you have now gone about almost 60 years serving the city of Keagle Harbor, you've made a big impact over that time. You've seen a lot of changes in the community. What's your hope for the years to come as this community continues to evolve and continues to be, surprisingly, even in today's day and age where we see so much division in our society, somehow, some way, getting closer every day?
Well, I think personally we've been instrumental in creating an environment of business here in the community, and people have come to realize that businesses are good for their community. And I think I'd like to see a continuation of that attitude in the city so that we can continue growing the community through the business community and residential as well.
Well, we appreciate both of you being on. Before we let you go, Irene, anything else that you'd like to say about this honor or the response from the community before we say goodbye today?
I'm just honored and so proud of our heritage, and that we have an Italian American month and we're part of that celebration. That's all I can say. I'm so thankful for all the years that have flown by, for 56 years have flown by for us.
I think our parents would be very proud of us at this point. They're looking down on us and probably smiling, I would think.
I think so.
They're very proud,
and
proud parents.
And we have children now that we have another generation coming into the business. So we hope to see this still continued over the years.
Another 60 years.
Yeah, certainly going to be a continued impact. A staple of the Keagle Harbor community being recognized now at a more macro level at the state capitol in early October. October 8th is the celebration at the Michigan State Capitol, recognizing Gino and Irene Santia for their contributions to the community in recognition of Italian American Heritage Month. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Appreciate having you on. You can send them your congratulations as well and keep up to date on their events, on their activities, and other special deals happening at Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant and Santia Hall. Visit their Facebook page at 1999 Cass LK RD. That is facebook.com/1999 Cass LK RD. This weekend, explore treasures hidden within some great deals and maybe even do a bit of decluttering yourself with Spirit of Grace Church as they host their annual Fall Community Yard Sale. Pastor Joyce Partica-Stibe joined me this week for a special preview of the event to let you know how you can join the sale in the coming days before it happens and how it helps other church programs all throughout the year. Hi, Pastor. Thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you on to preview your community yard sale. That's not just for those in your parish, but for the entire community. It's open to everybody and happening just this weekend.
Absolutely. So we're really excited about it. We're welcoming the Taco Hub taco truck for the third time at this event. They serve the most delicious and greatest food I've had out of a taco truck. And so we're really excited to have them. They'll start setting up about 10:30 to be ready to serve at 11. And then we'll have a bake sale on top of that. And so people from the congregation and the community are baking things so that you can come get dessert and not have to cook that day or that evening. And then if you want to help support the church even more, you can either donate items to be sold by the congregation, or you can buy a table or rent a table or a spot that you could sell your own items.
And that's what's great about this, too, is it gives people an opportunity to be buyers, to be sellers, but also to help the church out directly by making either all their items or all their proceeds go back into your parish at Spirit of Grace Church. And so these options open up to everybody fairly early on. They continue on as we approach the Saturday date for this event. Is there a deadline for people if they want to get involved with a table, renting a table, buying a table, or donating, to get that information to your team?
So the tables are only available as long as we have tables to set up or to rent. So the sooner you get into us, the sooner we can tell you whether or not we have that table available. You can certainly bring your own table and save that $5 from the price and set your own table up. That's fine too. We've had people do that. So there really is no deadline. We'd love to just see you come out anyway.
More information can be found. We'll put a graphic back up there throughout this interview. There's a QR code in the bottom right corner. If you scan that, it'll take you to their website where you can find all the information that you need on this event happening Saturday, September 27th, 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at Spirit of Grace Church in West Bloomfield. Pastor Joyce Partica-Steib is with us on the Splash Live today. It's not only an opportunity for people to declutter a little bit, maybe make a little bit of money themselves in selling their goods or donating to the church. It's also serving as a fundraiser for the church community as well. Pastor, what do these proceeds go toward to help in your
So this really doesn't help the church at all financially.
Okay.
What it does is help the ministries that we do. And so we have a community Christmas dinner that we serve on Christmas Day. The proceeds from this will help go to that. We also put together Thanksgiving boxes for food, Easter boxes for food for some of the families in our community. And so this helps support that endeavor as well. And so really it helps our community action team be able to continue to serve the community in all the ways that we do.
And you market this as being not just a yard sale and a bake sale, but a fun community gathering as well. So even for people, if they're not looking to add something new or find a hidden treasure at this event, or they're not even looking to clear out their belongings, why should anybody, whether they want to do some shopping or not, attend this community yard sale this weekend?
First, I love to see what the community has to offer. There are so many great gifts. And so some people bring their own crafts that they're selling. Some are decluttering their home. And it's just a great time to see what the community has to offer to each other. The second piece is, I think anytime we can get together to be community, it's great. I think we have so much that divides us and so much in this world that can tell us that we don't need to be together, but we certainly do need to be together. We need to be with each other, and just getting out and having that time together to see what other people have to offer and just to get out of our houses and see the world around us, I think is a great thing. And third, if nothing else, it gets you out of the house so that you don't have to make lunch or dinner that night.
Yeah, it helps with those activities too. It helps you get out of the house on the weekend and find something to do. If you're bored, if it's kind of gloomy outside, you're able to go and enjoy some fun community time with Spirit of Grace Church and many here in the Greater West Bloomfield area. And it's pretty surprising too. I've been to a few of these different yard sales or community garage sale events. It brings a lot of people out, quite a surprising amount.
Yeah, it really does. And at Spirit of Grace, we have a focus of not just being a congregation, but a congregation where people can gather and be together. And so people like the Girl Scouts have come to sell cookies. We've got a diabetic food pantry that has a raffle occasionally that will help support that diabetic food pantry. We've got clients from the diabetic food pantry that might be vendors or crafters, and they'll sell their things. We've had chiropractor offices come out, or chiropractic offices come out and share what they do with the community. And so it really is just people of different gifts and talents coming together to be community.
You can find more information by calling Spirit of Grace Church 248-338-3505 or send them an email, office@spiritofgrace.church for more information. Their fall community yard sale Saturday, September 27th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Pastor Joyce Partica-Steib is with us on the Splash Live today to talk about that. Joyce, I know that this is your fall community yard sale, but it's not something that's limited to just once a year in this fall. You hold a couple of these throughout the year, so if people can't attend now, can they expect more of these as we get into 2026?
Absolutely. So we usually do one in May, and those dates should be set within the next 3 months or so. So we should have those dates out as soon as we can. But there is also one in the spring. So this isn't the last one.
And we'll be excited to help you promote that as well as we get into that portion of the season. Pastor Steib, before we let you go, anything else people should know as they get ready for your fall community yard sale this weekend?
I think the only other thing that you should know is that Spirit of Grace wants to be a place where people can gather, where people can bring themselves and be themselves in this community. And so even if nothing else, if you want to come see the ways that we're supporting West Bloomfield, Sylvan Lake, Keego Harbor, please by all means stop by, get to know some people, ask some questions.
More information can be found on spiritofgracewb.org, their new website, spiritofgracewb.org, or scan that QR code on your screen as we speak. Pause the video, scan the code, and get all the information you need to register for this fall community yard sale, or just to put it on your calendar so you can attend this weekend. Pastor Stibe, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
The date is Saturday, September 27th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Once again, more information on their sale is on their brand new website at spiritofgracewb.org. Again, spiritofgracewb.org, where you can either sign up and purchase a table or to join them at a table to sell your goods, $10 or $15, depending on if you bring your own table or they set one up for you as supplies last, or just join them out there for their community yard sale for fun activities and to raise funds for church programs this weekend. Your kids have a chance to win some bragging rights and learn about keeping our beloved local water safe and clean for years to come. It's all part of the Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner's Clean Water Calendar Contest. Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner Jim Nash joined me right here on the Splash Live to tell us more about the long-running contest, as well as how it helps provide conservation education to the creative minds of the next generation. Thanks for joining us today, Commissioner.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, glad to have you on about this. It's something that gets the kids really excited year in and year out, gets their artistic genes moving forward and gets them creative and learning all in the process while having them a chance to display their art across the county. Give us the basics on the Clean Water Calendar Contest. What's going on with it in 2025?
Well, I'm glad I followed your previous show. This is about protecting our watersheds, learning about them, knowing what's in them. And this has been going on 21 years, long before I was in this office. And it's an effort to explore our watersheds and teach our 4th and 5th graders across those watersheds all about the environment, how we're protecting it, how they need to help protect it. The history of it, the long term of it, the great strides that have been done in terms of cleaning up that water and how we need to keep doing that. It brings in anywhere from 700 to 1,200 student art projects that they bring in. This works with their curriculum to help really bring it to life. When 4th and 5th graders come to these things, they learn about things. They see bugs under microscopes. It really fills in their imaginations and it carries forward. I've had young people come up to me, college students, who said they remembered going to this and how important it was. So it's one of those things that teaching everybody, and a lot of these kids take it back to their families and talk to them about all these things that are happening and have happened.
And it gives them an ability to learn and express what they've learned, put some context to it, help others learn as well, and it gets them engaged in a educational topic that may otherwise slip through in a classroom environment. How have you and others that help to oversee this contest found that this does engage students beyond what they would get in that traditional, more rote learning environment?
Oh, certainly. So, this is part of what we do. It's all around education. We have watershed festivals for 4th and 5th graders. And they come to Cranbrook Museum of Science, or they go to Oakland University campus. And they go off into all these different stations where they can learn different things. And it really does have an impression. Like I said, we had a young woman come to us looking for a job and said she remembered going to that, and that was the reason she wanted to come to us. So this kind of thing does have a huge impact. Again, we go to the schools that are in each one of these watersheds. So it's a certain number of schools. And again, we get between each one of them 700 or 1,000 that come in to do this for the art contest. So all these are different parts of that education project, and all of them have an impact on their families, and the future. We're touching the future in a way that really brings it to them. And once you catch the imagination of a young person, they can follow that their whole lives. And I think that's important.
The Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner's Clean Water Calendar Contest is open right now. You can get more information and submit your entries. 4th and 5th graders only. oakgov.com/calendar contest for more information. Once again, that's oakgov.com/calendar contest. We're joined by Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner Jim Nash on the program. As I mentioned, Commissioner, it's open to 4th and 5th graders specifically. That's the pool of artists that are going to ultimately be selected for these 12 different art pieces to go into this calendar. Why the focus specifically on those age groups in 4th and 5th grade?
Well, it's when they're really learning about these things for the first time in schools. So this backs that up again. It's tied to their curriculum. We want to make sure that they get that actual, tactile, that vision, that they see things rather than just reading them in a book or in a picture. So I think that's very important. And again, our partners, I mentioned Oakland University and Cranbrook Institute of Science. Cranbrook has been working with us from the beginning on this and on the watershed festivals. This is an amazing, I think the best cultural institution, right there with the zoo, but right there in Oakland County and one of the best in the state. So this is that they're reaching out, we're helping them do that. The more we can work with and leverage all this out, the better we're off in the long run. This is part of our permits to do public education. And I have a nonprofit that helps fund a lot of this through Oakland Water. We work with, Oakland University and Cranbrook to do this. And partners are very important in all our communities. Oakland County Schools plays a part. The communities we work with in their schools all play a part in this. And it's a wonderful way of uniting everyone around the cause of protecting the environment that we all depend on.
Entries are due by October 3rd. So now through October 3rd, these kids can make these pieces, send them into the county, and then those winners will be selected. Those 12 winning pieces by mid-November, they'll be announced, and it includes a number of different prizes, of course, recognition via a virtual exhibit, a calendar inclusion, some fun swag and art supplies as well. And these entries, they do have some specific parameters, Commissioner. Can you give us some details on what you're looking for from these 4th and 5th graders in terms of these art pieces and what is allowed to be entered into this contest?
Well, we break it down into 12 kind of parts. So there's one for each month. You're looking at things like protecting our water, what's in the water, what we can do as individuals, what we can do as communities, and how things work. So these are all kind of, each year they're a little bit different. There'll be different categories, and they go out to the schools, so the schools see that, and then it's part of their curriculum, so the students pick out what's most interesting to them. And I can tell you, some of the art is absolutely amazing. I mean, some of it looks like it's done by adults, done by real, active artists. We've had several that have, actually 2 people have won both in 4th and 5th grade, have won the top prize, which is they get the most of the swag and most things like tickets to Cranbrook for their family for the year, and just a bunch of different things, art supplies and all kinds of different stuff like that. So we have this in December, usually second or third weekend, Saturday in December, where we have this at Cranbrook, where we give it to the kids and have a little, lunch, and it makes a real event for the ones that win. And there's some runners up too. So this is all to, really spur that interest, get them going in terms of knowing what they live in terms of the environment, how they can work to protect it. It's just vitally important, and it really does. It gets back to families, it gets back to communities. We really work well with all our partners.
And as Oakland County faces water-related challenges, as much as they're able to overcome them in comparison to some other communities that may have even greater struggles or struggle with similar issues on a larger scale, how do educational efforts like this help to contribute to the county and ultimately your office as well, being able to address these issues and put some solutions in place that support the residents who are here in our communities?
Well, just getting the word out. Education is vitally important so people know what we're doing and the reason we're doing it. climate change is bringing much stronger storms, much heavier rain than it had just 30 or 40 years ago. And they've increased dramatically, and we expect them to continue increasing. We have to build our infrastructure to be resilient to these storms, so there's less damage. We can recover right away. We're not worrying about damage to property or homes, businesses, even nature itself. So we have to build these things stronger. We have to make them, up to the storms, and any way we can to get that message out, we do as much as we can. This is one of those ways, the calendar contest and the watershed festivals. It's how that's done. We need to make sure people understand what we're doing and how they themselves can help. Putting in green infrastructure, rain gardens, planting trees, putting in rain barrels on gutters. That kind of thing means less gets into the system, and the less it gets into the system, less treatment, the less flooding, the less pollution. That's important that people understand that. And that's why we do this all the time. We do this in other counties too. We help watershed festivals on the Detroit River, even down in the downriver. There's another one that we do down there. So all of these have an impact on their local communities. We help people understand those things, and it's valuable to make sure that we can do what we need to do, and the citizens know why and what we're doing.
And it's providing solutions to problems, not simply preaching about the problems themselves. You can say, look, we have an issue with runoff. We have an issue with too much fertilization of our yards and all these other issues that people have been preaching about and saying that they're problems for our environment, problems for our watershed for a number of years. But then we talk about those rain gardens and other solutions as being ways to counteract some of those issues or even prevent some of those issues. That gets the people in the community going and actually focusing on the issues at hand instead of that debate back and forth. Water Resources Commissioner Jim Nash is with us on the Splash Live today. Their calendar contest for 4th and 5th grade students to promote clean water in the Oakland County area is ongoing. Entries are allowed now through early October. oakgov.com/calendar contest for more information. Commissioner Nash, before we let you go, anything else that we should know about this contest or other conservation efforts and educational opportunities coming up through your office?
We're doing lots of projects. We're doing a green infrastructure project in the southeast corner of the county where we're offering up to $2,000 rebates for folks to put rain gardens, trees, or rain barrels on their properties to reduce rain flow. And that's very, very popular. And other communities that I've talked to about this are very interested in doing that. So it's building this knowledge. And when you just said a couple of minutes ago about runoff and about the pollution things, you know that now. I mean, I've talked to you and I've talked to others on this station, and so you know that now. And maybe a few years ago you wouldn't have talked about that. You wouldn't have known about that. So it's getting that message out is super vital for folks to understand. And just day-to-day talking to other people. You saw a huge storm the other day. What happened? Did you see flooding? And so and then you hear, well, I hear they're doing a project about that. So it just gets through the communities, and then they realize that this is going to save them from having flooding problems in the future, from seeing, pollution, fish kills in lakes, that kind of thing. You mentioned fertilizers. That's a big issue on shoreline, on riparian land, where you're on shoreline of water. If you have too much, it gets into that water, and that's what breeds algae and bacteria and things that rob oxygen and can kill fish. So all these things are important, and we do as much of this as we can to get out there and show people how they can help this without big costs, without huge, investments in things, just doing things a little differently so they can protect those resources and their own property.
And something as simple as a calendar contest can get the creative juices flowing now in 4th and 5th grade, and you'll get 10, 15 years down the road, those kids are making those solutions happen for the future of our communities as well. Jim Nash, thank you so much for joining us today on the program.
Really appreciate being here, and I always like coming. So.
More information can be found on the Clean Water Calendar Contest on oakgov.com/calendar contest. You only have a couple more weeks really until that will close. So get the information now for 4th and 5th grade students and get them entered into the contest. Capture beautiful moments with your entire family with the beautiful background of autumn close to home in Greater West Bloomfield. Alicia Marie Photography, in partnership with the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation, is hosting a special photo session for families in mid-October in West Bloomfield, all to help provide funds for special programs that help your kids in the classroom every single day. Alicia spoke to our team's Jake Schaff about the cause recently right here on The Splash.
Alicia, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Of course, this is such a great event, especially in the heart of fall. You've got the beautiful colors around you, a great landscape for great family photos. How did you get involved with the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation's Family Mini Photo Session?
So I have a family friend who's on the board of directors for the Educational Foundation, and she reached out to me and told me about this new opportunity of fundraising for the community and asked me if I wanted to participate.
Awesome. And why is supporting local education important to you personally and professionally?
So personally, I actually have 3 children, one of which just graduated from West Bloomfield High School, and 2 more coming up through the elementary schools. So very close to my heart in terms of local education and what a strong school system does to support the community. As a photographer, I love that education supports the creativity and storytelling aspect of things, and having creative arts as a part of the educational system, I think, is so important. So I love that I get to participate into the with the foundation and express my creative outlet.
That's absolutely right, and it's great that you are giving back to the West Bloomfield community in this way. So once again, this event is taking place on October 18th. What can families expect from their session with you on the day of the event?
So I think families can expect a very well organized event. It will be fun. It'll be relaxing. As you mentioned, Bloomer Park is just a beautiful setting for fall colors. They'll be greeted when they arrive. They can expect from me personally to try and make them as comfortable as possible, trying to establish an early connection, especially if there's young children involved. I'll be providing posing guidance and, prompts to get true, authentic reactions from the family.
That's great to hear. And yeah, as you said, especially with families with younger children, things can sometimes get a little bit chaotic. It can be a little difficult to rein the children in and to get them to sit still. So I am curious, what's your approach to capturing genuine family moments in such a short time frame? Because you only have a little bit of time with each family.
Yeah, so I try to be, fun and silly, bubbles and music playing or anything I can do. And I do have a trick up my sleeve if worse comes to worse and I'm really not getting a good reaction out of the young children. I'll let them push the buttons on my camera to take their own pictures, and then they get to see them. So that usually works pretty well to get there. If you do this, then smile, you can take a picture on my camera. And that usually perks them up pretty quickly.
Hey, sometimes bribery comes in handy, and that's a pretty good incentive for these kids, a pretty good reward. So after the photos are taken, can you describe maybe the kinds of edits or touches that you add to the final photo gallery that the families can see?
Yeah, so editing is part of my favorite part of the process. And I always try to, especially with the fall colors, my fall editing style tends to be very warm, soft, vibrant color, trying to pull those colors through. And also I try to remove any distractions or blemishes, scratches, anything that, might make an individual nervous, especially with the little kids. They get bumps and bruises pretty easily. So no need to worry about any of that. These will be completely professionally edited images.
For those just joining us right now in the Splash Live, I'm talking with photographer Alicia Kowalski, who's going to be one of the photographers for the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation's Family Mini Photo Session that's going to be taking place on October 18th. Now, Alicia, you talked about this a little bit a second ago, but how does it feel knowing that your work is helping to fund educational programs here in West Bloomfield?
I absolutely love it. It's near and dear to my heart. I've had the opportunity to meet and establish a lot of relationships with the educators within the community. As I mentioned, my own children are part of the community, and I just think it's a wonderful event. And the organization and foundation in itself does just fantastic things for the community. So I am so happy to be a part of it.
And we love that you're a part of it as well. I am curious, once you're done with the families and once you've taken all the photos, what kind of feedback do you usually get from families after events like this?
So one of my favorite parts is after I send a family a gallery and I patiently wait to see what their response is. And I have been very fortunate to have just wonderful feedback that comes back in, and it's very heartwarming to hear from families and what they think of their photos and their captured moments in time. And I've been very fortunate to have to spread word of mouth quite a bit for my services, and then also have just a lot of positive feedback. So it's been I've been very blessed in that aspect.
Glad to hear it, and glad to hear that the families are taking such positive memories away from the experience. I got a couple more questions before we wrap things up, Alicia. Is there a message you'd like to share with families who might be considering signing up themselves this year?
Yeah, I think what families tend to do is things like family photos get overshadowed quite a bit with all of the grind that we have in our daily lives. And my message to families will be like, take the opportunity. And not only is it going to be a beautiful setup and very reasonable pricing, but I think we need to prioritize those moments more with our families and ourselves to get that moment captured, and something that will live on well beyond the moment itself. So I highly encourage families to take advantage of the opportunity, and they will also get their edited photos back in time for all their Christmas card planning.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Alicia. Last thing, where can people go to maybe gain a little more information about what you provide and about the event in general?
So they can reach out to me directly on my website, EliciaMariePhotography.com, and ask any additional questions. I am also on social media, Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome. Well, can't wait to see what's to come from this event and for all of the work that's going to be done to benefit the Educational Foundation. Alicia, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live.
Thank you.
More information on the photo shoot and the fundraiser can be found on WBEF.org. That's our show. I want to remind you that television that's close to home is always online on CivicCenterTV.com and across our social media. Big thank you to our entire crew and to you, of course, for joining in. For our entire team, I'm Tyler Kieft. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.